Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I remove the front bumper on my MK7 GTI, and I'm going to give it a respray just to clean it up and kind of make it more presentable for when I use the car and if I sell it down the road. So let's talk about why I'm doing the job in the first place. I bought this car about 6 or 7 months ago, May of 2023, and it had the clear coat peeling on the front bumper, which does seem like a common issue for these cars. Hasn't quite bugged me enough to repair it, but recently I lent the car to the lovely woman that gave birth to me, and this is how it was returned. Just scuffs and stuff like that there, and plastic. I don't know if that's split or if that's cracked. This kind of came off and that. Again, I can't be too mad at her because she's a lovely woman and she gave birth to me. And I was literally driving the car like a day or two later, and I went to the mall to go Christmas shopping, and I freaking ran it up a curb there and scraped it anyway. So, funny story, like I own the car for 6 or 7 months. I haven't touched anything. I always make sure to park so far from the curb. And then 2 days after my mom returns it like that, I literally do the same thing. So, again, I can't be too mad at her, and it's time to take it off and clean it up anyway because of the clear coat failure. My name is Jeremy. This is Region Automotive, and let's get to work. Okay, starting off on the passenger side here, I have the wheels turned slightly towards the driver's side to expose these two T25 screws. And I also want to mention this lovely new tool here that my wife got for me for Christmas. And she said she wanted to see it in the videos, otherwise she's not going to be very happy. So figured I'd use it, try it out, and make the old lady happy. So with that being said, let's jump into it and get these two screws off. Same setup on the driver's side, except I have the wheels slightly turned towards the passenger. Now we're at the front of the car to remove the two T25 screws here, and then the grill should just pop up. Man, those freaking clips that the Germans like to put on their cars. Now we're underneath the car, removing the splash shield from the bumper. There's about 6, it's gonna be the same Torx, T25 Torx screws or so. You guys won't really be able to see it from that angle, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it. And enjoy this fast forward montage of me taking them off. All right, if I did my math correctly, all the screws should be off and this bumper should just pop off. Look at that, I didn't do my math correctly. There's one more screw on the top here for the front bumper. Okay, with those two screws removed, let's see if it pops off now. And just like that, I stand corrected again. And third time's a charm, let's see if it pulls off. Now that we have the bumper off the car, close the hood, get the car out of here, and then I'll get the bumper set up for us to prepare and start taking all the plastic off. I have the bumper set up just face down on a moving blanket there. And now I'm going to remove any of the black grills, the Torx screw there, get all this black inner bracing off, the grills, just anything that's attached to the bumper because we don't want it to get damaged while we're doing our sand prep or overspray when we're doing our painting.
Two hours later.
Man, the gosh darn Germans and their clips.
Freaking clips that the Germans like to put on their cars.
Oh, seems like they want that to be freaking one-time use. Just install it at the factory and never take it off again, which is probably their intention, but luckily I got it off without breaking any of the clips. Again, just really be patient. take your time, figure out exactly how each clip works, what clips in where, have the right tools, and honestly the best advice I can give is just be patient. Man, that sucked. Let's get the other plastic off. Woo! All the over-engineered Volkswagen clips are off. And I think I only had 2 broken ones. But again, all our plastic is off, and when we put it back together, I think the 1400 other clips will hold it together just fine. Now that we have all the trim off, let's clean up the bumper and get it ready to start prepping for paint. Right. I don't know why I said that. Probably because I always say, all right. Anyway, now that we have all the cleaning done, I have the bumper set up on my handy dandy little bumper stand here, also known as my welding cart, the moving blanket on it. The 2 areas I'm going to focus on is this bottom lip here, and then the top part where the clear coat was failing. Alright guys, I have my dual action sander set up here. I'm starting off with 150 grit sandpaper. We'll see how that does on the bottom edge here. It might be a little rough, but I also have higher grits. I can smooth it out afterwards. Okay, so I'm actually pretty happy with how that sanded. So I lost the footage of me sanding the top half of the bumper, but that's okay. I'm sure you guys are getting bored of me watching me sand this thing anyway, so I'll just kind of go over what I did. Same thing, I set up the dual A sander. I use 150 grit, and actually this is good because one thing I'd like to show on the top part here is, like, you see that color gradient? That's what you want to see, because that means the darker stuff is either the plastic or the clear coat underneath the paint, and then you see how it kind of gradients into the red, which is the base coat, and then it gradients into this lighter part here, that's the existing clear coat. So when you see the nice gradient like that, that's nice and smooth going into the top, like from the deepest part to the highest part. So usually when I sand, I look for those gradients. That being said, turned out pretty good. I used 150 grit sandpaper, and then I kind of smoothed everything out with some Scotch-Brite, and I believe it was 400 grit sandpaper. So next, I'm gonna clean the bumper in preparation for paint. I'll be using a heat gun to heat up the panel before I paint it. I like to make sure it's warm to touch, just so the paint adheres better, especially on days like today where it's like 0 degrees Celsius or, you know, minus 160 Fahrenheit. Don't forget to shake your paint before using. I like to also counteract with a shake weight so I don't lose balance, fall over, and knock over my nicely prepped piece. Now that my paint is shaken up and the bumper is warm with the heat gun, I'm going to spray. And when I do, I'm just going to start just outside of the sand zone, just one nice consistent pass to the other side of the sand zone. Again, you know, this is just like a freaking backyard job here. This paint cost me $30. Like, I'm just trying to make it look better so I don't hate my life every time I walk up to the car. You know the deal. Make sure to shake your clear coat before you use it, and always have a shake weight to counteract your balance. Alright guys, it's the next day. How can you tell it's the next day? Well, I'm wearing a different outfit and a new hat, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Anyway, let's jump into wet sanding and polishing the bumper here. So I let the paint and the clear coat cure overnight. Overall, it's not too bad. There's a little bit of orange peel. For wet sanding, I'm gonna start with 1500 grit, and then I have a little sanding sponge here. And then I'm gonna do 1500. Again, I stopped my paint and my clear coat about here. So I'm just going to do 1500, blend it into the original paint, and then I'm going to 2000, 3000 and polish the whole bumper. Next, I'm going to wet sand the whole bumper with 2000. A little bit of 3000 for good measure. Now that our wet sanding is done, we're going to hit it with a polish with the medium pad, and then Mother's step 1, which would be considered, I'm guessing, like just a light cutting compound. I'm just using a, I don't know, like a medium cut or light cut pad with Mother's step 2 to do the final polish. Now that all the wet sand and polishing is done, I'm going to clean up all the plastic trim, all the black plastic trim, and put it back on the bumper. Considering how hard it was to take off, it's got to be easier to put on, right? Let's try here. Let's give this a shot. Well, that was easy. Not really. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. You know, as expected, it's next to impossible to get the clips off, but they clip on relatively easy. Now that we have the car back in the garage and on the ramps, let's get the bumper back on. I'm not going to show the installation process because it's just the exact opposite of removal. But I did like that Thanos finger snap thing. That made for pretty easy work. Let's see if we can make that work again here. And just like that, our bumper's back on. I am pretty darn impressed with how that looks. Here's our finished product. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Same thing like down here. I wasn't trying to make it perfect. Because it's, you know, it's under the car, like it's never going to be perfect. So I just wanted to cover it up with some color and some clear coat and just make it, you know, way less noticeable, which it is. And then put all these plastics back together. It kind of cracked, but whatever. They're still a little dirty. I'm going to take the car to the car wash afterwards and give it a nice bath. But this was kind of, like I said, the main focus here was a clear coat. Considering how it looked before, I am thrilled. Yeah, you know, it went really well. Any word of advice would be take your time. All right, guys, that's a video of how I removed the bumper and resprayed it on my Mark 7 GTI. You know, please comment below and subscribe and like and all that good stuff. It really helps a small up and coming channel like me. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and have a good day.